Welcome to day 77 of the 77-day video challenge. You see, I remembered which day this one was. So here we are at the end of this. We've survived it. I think we've all survived this together. I've had a lot to reflect on to get through this 77-day video challenge. Which was begun several years ago by Darren LaCroix to mark the 77 days of preparation it took to progress from from qualifying for the World Championship of Public Speaking in 2001 to competing and winning the 2001 World Championship of Public Speaking. In the scenario that he created, and many of the people who have subscribed to his program, one sets a series of goals and toward a specific goal, toward a specific end. In my case, it was a matter of coming up with something to talk about for 77 nights until I turned 57 years old. Guess what? I suppose reaching my 57th birthday was the ultimate goal. I'm glad that you could be part of this to see that, yeah, I went through with it. A lot has transpired in these 77 days. Roe versus Wade has been overturned. The world has lost Olivia Newton-John. The world is not what it was a couple of weeks ago, 2.5 months ago, approximately. And I don't know if I am a different person, if I'm in a different place in my life than I was 2.5 months ago when this project began. Ultimately, I think that we all have transformed ourselves. Whether this little project had anything to do with it is highly debatable. As I lay in bed last night, I was thinking about whether I have experienced any transformation or if I have somehow stimulated some progress in anybody who's watching this. I was reminded of the old saying, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Still, if you manage to survive from one day to the next day to the day after that and wake up every morning and breathe and hydrate, keep yourself hydrated, and you eat something healthy, and you make someone smile, or something or somebody makes you smile, then perhaps you have moved your life forward in some way. That you have made progress and you have transformed yourself and perhaps had a positive influence on the rest of the world. I rethought in the middle of the night at about 3:45 in the morning. Perhaps another way of looking at that phrase, the more things change, the more they stay the same, we might adopt a different approach and say the more things change, the more they slay the shame. I would like to believe that over these 77 days that I have slain some shame. I have shoveled some things over the course of this project, but I think within the context of this, I've gained some greater insight into myself. I've gotten some feedback from some of you on what I have done to change some lives. And people have commented on things that they see that I have been able to share that may never have come up in natural conversation elsewhere. I think that I've slain some shame in the course of this project. I believe that now that I'm 6 weeks and 1 year older than I was when this project began, perhaps I am more than a year older. Maybe I'm a little bit wiser. 3 years ago, I posted on a long essay on Facebook about birthday boy privilege. I took that opportunity to share some grief that I felt over the loss of Hear Me Out Toastmasters, and particularly the resentment that I felt towards some people who I felt really owed it to the world and owed it to me to pay greater attention and to advocate for that project. I've carried a lot of anger still in the 4.5 years since Hear Me Out dissolved. And it's not just time that has taken the edge off of that anger, but a couple of things that have transpired just within the last year. Somehow, the death of one of my dear friends, my friend Chris Ayers, somehow shook me out of a lot of that anger, and I can't put my finger on what it was about his loss that minimized, reduced the anger I had over that particular part of my life, because the two presences, his and that Toastmasters Club, totally unrelated, and yet somehow I think that the grief that I felt for him, the loss of him in my life, may have helped me overcome that grief, that loss of what many of you probably know was one of the most important things that I've ever done in my life. Within the course of the last year, and really, I think it was even since the beginning of the 77-day video challenge, I've been in contact with some of the people I've carried a lot of resentment toward. And they've been cordial in their acknowledgement of my frustration and have since done very little to follow up on it. I think I can take a message from that, and I will probably convey those sympathies to the horse on which I arrived. I've gained some insight into my life over the course of the last year. Just within the last year, somebody who shared my birthday, one of my Facebook friends, passed away. And so in a way, a little part of me left with her. My life is good, and I'm blessed to have the opportunity to share some perspective on that, and I'm thrilled that I've got to spend some of this time over these 77 nights sharing that. My thoughts, popping open the trapper keeper of my life to reveal to share some of my stories and some of my thoughts, incoherent though some of them may be. I've decided early on in this process that I had something that I wanted to finish with, because this evening I wanted to spend some time sharing about influence and the experiences that have changed the course of my life. And as many of you have probably heard me tell a story of watching a television show one evening in 1974 on a Saturday night, and the course of my life was changed. Had I not been watching that variety show on that Saturday night in 1974, wouldn't be able to extrapolate where I would be in my life. And as a result of that, I probably would never have met most of the people who are watching this or who have watched any of these installments. So I'm going to finish this 77-day video challenge with the lyrics of a song made famous by the artist who hosted that show. There's a time we set aside for dreaming, and a time for things we have to do. But the best time that I know is any evening I can spend a moment here with you. When the time comes that I'm feeling lonely, at times I'm feeling oh so blue, I sit back and I think of you only, and the happiness still comes through. That's why I'm glad we've had this time together, because it makes me feel that I belong. Seems we just get started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say, so long.